Hello, friends, this is me, your host. Welcome back to our channel. I hope you all are well and doing great. So, today I am back with another video to give a review on another book, which is A Trial of Innocence. This book is by Michael Swiger. You mean to tell me this psycho picked his victims by going through the obituaries? Sergeant Gates shot a dagger like glare at the handcuffed perpetrator, bent over and spread eagled on the hood of the patrol car. It sure looks like it. Sarge, I found these crumbled up papers in his back pocket. Officer Sharp said while holding out his find. One is from the phone book and the other is the obituary section from today's Herald Star. Let me see that. Gates snatched the papers from the rookie's hand and held up his flashlight to get a better look. The page from the phone book had an entry circled in red. John and Dorothy Bernhardt, 303 Lovers Lane, Steubenville. Gates twisted his neck to look over his left shoulder past the meticulously cut lawn. Past the perfectly manicured shrubs, past the 6 white pillars to the 3 white numbers affixed to the 2-story brick colonial. Gates shuffled the pages and said, "The obituary is for Dr. John Bernhardt. It says that he died in a car accident 3 days ago. Tonight is the last night to view the body. The funeral is first thing in the morning." Gates paused as the hellish nature of the crime sank in. That woman, this sicko, just beat unconscious is the newly widowed Dorothy Bernhardt. An awkward silence lingered in the air, begging to be filled. The rookie gave in. He probably didn't expect to find anyone home if he was robbing the place. Sergeant Gates stared down at the crumpled papers in his trembling hands. Completely oblivious to the rookie's comments. His mind replayed the heinous scene. A pregnant woman lays on the floor, clad only in a thin nightgown. A bear of a man straddles her waist, savagely beating on her chest. She heard the sound of the newspaper rustling, followed by the sound of coffee being sprayed through tightly pressed lips, followed by a series of loud coughs. Jennifer, get that woman on the phone now. She obeyed, her fingers raised across the phone's touchpad as if she worked a Rubik's cube. Over time, she had developed a friendship with the switchboard operator at the courthouse, so it didn't take long to track down the woman in question. Jennifer held her hand over the mouthpiece and said, Daniel, Miss Franks is on the phone. Pick up line 2. He pushed the appropriate button on his console, and the battle commenced. What's the big idea leaking to the press? You intend to seek the death penalty. Daniel said, the public has a right to know. The press is already in a feeding frenzy, and you throw chum in the water. I am just doing my job. Your job isn't to exploit the press and trample over my client's civil rights. It's already going to be next to impossible to have a fair trial in this county. His rights. What about Dorothy Bernhardt's rights? What about her innocent, defenseless baby's rights? Who protected them from your retarded mood of a client? Lori said, her voice an octave higher than normal and quite piercing. Daniel winced and pulled the phone away from his ear. He hasn't been convicted of anything yet. Besides, he may not be competent to stand trial. He's had a severe head injury. You must be out of your mind, Solomon. He was competent enough to hunt down his victims. No, not yet. If only I could help. If I could help him understand that he can be forgiven for his sins. No matter how terrible they may be. But how do you do that when the man will not or cannot talk to you? Marian put down the dishes and walked up behind her husband. She wrapped her arms around his long neck. Honey, this whole situation is in the Lord's hands. Facts were facts. The police caught Archie Kistner beating an unconscious woman. How do you get around something like that? How do you reconcile is your own mind defending a guilty man? Daniel perched at his desk grappling with these issues when Jennifer came in with the morning mail. Do you want to open it? She asked. Or should I go through and separate it according to case number? Please go through it. I'm kind of deep in thought at the moment. Then again, at this point, Archie is allegedly guilty. He still deserves the best defense I can provide. There must be some precedent in the law that will give me at least one leg to stand on. Daniel, you are not going to like this. What is it? It looks like an indictment. For who? Archie Kistner, she said. I thought the grand jury hearing wasn't scheduled until next week sometime. It's not supposed to be. Let me see that. Jennifer handed the papers to her boss and stepped around the side of his desk to look over his shoulder. Daniel carefully read the document, then ran his fingers through his wiry hair. That woman is completely unbelievable. She went to the grand jury early and got a secret indictment. What's a secret indictment? It is when the prosecutor gets approval from a judge to go to the grand jury without notifying the defense when the hearing will be held. The results aren't disclosed to the media until the indictment is served. It's supposed to be used when the state believes the defendant poses a substantial flight risk. Why would the state be afraid Archie might flee? He's in the county jail, isn't he? This is Lori Frank's way of trying to keep me off guard. Dorothy Bernhardt's parents stormed out of the office. Daniel flopped down in the chair next to Jennifer's desk in shock. but he knew they were hurting and they had every right to be angry. Daniel knew all too well that anger. Just 2 years earlier, his uncle had been stabbed to death in a bar fight in Milwaukee. Jennifer watched her boss slouch over in the chair with his head in his hands. She spoke softly. Rough day, huh? That would be the understatement of the century. Is there anything I can do for you? Coffee? It will be all right in a minute. I didn't expect that from perfect strangers. I know they must be living a nightmare right now. So I'm going to turn the other cheek, literally. He stood up, shaking his head, then walked into his office. He searched for a comfortable place to park his weary body. The couch looked inviting. Jennifer made a fresh pot of caramel coffee. She poured 2 cups and carried them into Daniel's office. She sat on the couch near his feet and offered him a cup. He sat up and accepted it. Without looking up from her coffee, she said, "If it would make you feel better, I'm ready to hear what you have to say about your faith." "Are you serious? I am ready." Daniel perked up as if he had been hit in the face with a cold glass of water. Most people are indifferent to goat, so your interest is impressive. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I promise you won't regret it. Sounds good to me. To be honest, I feel like there's got to be more to life. I have had good jobs, fun friends, all the toys. I have traveled everywhere. I have traveled everywhere and I have even done things I shouldn't go. But basically, I feel like I'm just going through the motions toward the day I die. Have a seat, Archie. We need to discuss a few things. Archie sat down. I don't expect you to say anything, so just nod if you understand. Okay? Archie nodded. Your trial will begin in 2 weeks. You do realize the state is trying to execute you? Daniel waited for Archie to nod before continuing. We don't have much of a defense. They caught you in the act. So I intend to take a radically different approach. But even if it works, you are not going to walk away free. In fact, my main goal is to make sure you don't get executed. The first thing I want you to do is start shaving. You do know how to shave, don't you? Archie slowly bobbed his head up and down. I am going to arrange to have a barber come in to cut your hair. But that isn't what I need to talk to you about. Daniel leaned forward. Archie, I need you to help me. I need some information. Archie froze like a deer in the headlights. Daniel stood up and paced around the small room. Archie followed him with his eyes. Where can I find your brother? No response. Archie, I'm not playing here. Where is your brother? No response. What can you tell me that I can use in your defense? Still no response. Daniel raised his voice to just under a shout. You had better start talking to me, or in 2 weeks, a jury of your peers is going to have you sizzling in the electric chair. Do you understand me? The bailiff reassembled the group of lawyers and ushered them back into Caesar Clark's chambers. I have reviewed the Frank's file and I have decided to exclude it from discovery at this time. It's not relevant. Daniel nearly jumped out of his seat. Your Honor, with all due respect, how can you exempt one half of the information available from discovery? We will only see one side of the story. Are you sure you want to go there, Andy? Mervyn asked as he fumbled with his tie in front of the small mirror on top of the dresser. I feel I need to be there for Daniel when he leaves court. He's going to be all alone, like a three-legged cat in a pack of wild dogs. But how can you stand to look at that woman? She's tearing our family apart. It won't be easy. I know it's not Chris like, but I would love to spit in her face. Honey, it's all right to be angry. Anger is neither good nor bad. It's what we do with the anger that makes it right or wrong. I know, but I can't help myself. I don't think hawking a loogie in her face is a positive expression of Christian love. Marian forced a smile. It seemed like forever since they laughed together. They still hadn't mustered up the courage to tell Erin the news. In the back of their minds, they hoped God would make all of this go away. In fact, they had prayed every night that somehow, some way, they would never have to tell Erin. And they earnestly prayed Erin would never spend one night with Lori Franks. In their eyes, she was the devil incarnate. What are you going to do when you see her? Marian asked. I really don't know. I hope I'm able to keep my mouth shut. He finished knotting his tie. I won't be able to sit too close to the front. The trial started 40 minutes ago, and I would be fortunate to stand at the back wall. He took a couple of deep breaths. I hope seeing me will prick her conscience enough to make her stop this madness. Marian shook her head. Andy, I don't think she has a conscience. We need to talk, she said. Call my secretary and make an appointment. No, this is personal. I need to talk to you today. Laurie's violet blue eyes were glassy. She appeared to be fighting back tears. All right, Daniel said. We can get together as soon as we are finished here. Thank you very much, Mr. Solomon. Her voice had a ring of sincerity Daniel hadn't noticed before. She walked over to her table and composed herself before the jury entered the room. Mr. Solomon, she's never called me Mr. before. I wonder what's gotten into her. Andy reached over the rail and touched him on the shoulder. Just wanted to let you know we are here. Did you guys say something to Frank's? Daniel asked. She seems genuinely touched. We didn't say anything, Andy said. We waited outside her office. Tingallo and Cram came out, but before we could talk, two men in uniform came and rushed her away. Then I really don't know what's gotten into her. Daniel turned back around to see the bailiff leading the jury into the courtroom. Usually, he could tell by the look on the juniors' faces as to which way they had voted. This jury was fit for the poker table because their faces were like stone. Not a single indication as to what the outcome would be. Once the jury took their seats, the judge brought the proceedings to order. Foreman, has the jury reached a verdict? We have, Your Honor. And is your decision unanimous? It is, Your Honor. Very well then. Please hand the decision to the bailiff for my review. The foreman handed a small folded piece of paper to the bailiff, who quickly relayed it to the judge. Williams unfolded the paper. His expression didn't change as he read the decision. He simply nodded. Everyone did exactly as Judge Williams instructed. Within 20 minutes, the courtroom was nearly empty. Daniel shoved his paperwork back into his briefcase, then walked over to Laurie and asked, "Do you still want to get together?" "Yes, if you are still up to it." "With pleasure." Daniel said with a puzzled smile. Please don't take this wrong, but it has been about 18 hours since I last ate. Would you like to take over dinner? Sounds good to me, but on the condition you let me buy. Laurie looked up at him with a silly expression on her face. This was a side of her that Daniel had never seen before. In fact, this was a side of Laurie that no one had ever seen before. They drove separately to the Granary, a restaurant on Sunset Boulevard. Daniel asked for a table for two, and the Mitai thinking them a couple, seated them in a romantic spot in the corner. A skylight above allowed the fading glow of the day to cascade down upon their faces. The waiter came over and lit the pink candle in the middle of the table. Their eyes met. They looked away. Their eyes met again. Laurie finally mustered the courage to speak. Mr. Solomon, what I want to talk to you about is very personal. And I would like your word that what is said here tonight won't go any farther. You have my word on it, and since this is personal, feel free to call me Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. This may sound unbelievable, but you are the only person I trust enough to discuss this with. Me, especially after a particular thing happened this afternoon. I have not been able to get it out of my mind. Laurie paused and bit her lip. I hope in a good way. I offered them my most sincere apology. First thing tomorrow morning, I'm going to go down to the courthouse to withdraw my lawsuit. I also intend to apologize to the Lois family in person. That is, if they will see me. I'm surely they will be thrilled to see you. I hope this doesn't sound condescending, but I'm really proud of you. You shouldn't be. I didn't have I didn't have the motives when I started that whole escapade. But now I just want to do the right thing, especially for that little girl. Although I must admit I would love to see her once in a while. I'm sure that can be arranged. By the way, you were right about the delay, Lori said. What delay? The delay in Sergeant Gates responding to the Bernhardt's silent alarm. His partner said Gates insisted it was a false alarm. So he went and bought a cup of coffee and donuts at the quick stop first. I don't recall seeing that in the Discovery. Lori shrugged her shoulders. Sorry. They finished their meals. The waiter cleared the table and brought the check. True to his word, Daniel left the biggest tip the waiter had ever received. $100 bill tucked inside a gospel tract entitled, How Can I Be Saved? Daniel helped Lori on with her coat, and as they were walking out, the waiter rushed over. Thank you very much, you are too kind. Don't mention it, Daniel said. Tonight is a very special night. An anniversary, perhaps. More of a birthday, Lori said. So, this is all we have from this book. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, don't forget to press the button. I'll be back with another video with another book. Till then, just take care and goodbye.